Ho, 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 ho! Hello, welcome to the Heavy Sweater Podcast. My name is John King. This is the Heavy Sweater Podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is the Heavy Sweater Podcast, a deep dive into the beginnings of musicians and bands of the heavy variety. We sometimes talk a bit too much about high school shit, sometimes we don't, and that's fucking cool either way because, hey, everybody went to high school unless you're a dummy. Anyway, you read the fucking title of the episode, huh? You did. How fucking wild is that? How fucking crazy is this? Right? This week's guest on the Heavy Sweater Podcast, someone that I've known about for so long. Someone that I've listened to their music for so long. I grew up listening to these bands. Huh? Kirk Windstein. From fucking Crowbar, dude. From Crowbar. From Down. From Kingdom of Sorrow. Solo artist. Fucking what? Fucking what, dog? Yeah. Check that out. That's wild. It's fucking insane to me. When I got emailed about this, so huge thank you to Kirk for taking the time to fucking talk to me, because I really appreciate that. But a huge thank you to Tim Price from Collision Course. He's a fucking legend. He sends me, like, the opportunities to talk to these people, and I really appreciate that, and that helps grow this podcast. So thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate that. I don't know what else to say, man. Hey, at this point, it's March 6th, right? Crowbar just put out a new fucking album 2 days ago. And it's fucking sick. It's really fucking sick. It's so good. So go check it out. Zero and Below. It's fucking awesome. In this interview, it's a short one, I know. But hey, it's better than not talking to him at all. I'm fucking chuffed that I even got to talk to him. So thanks, Kirk, again for the fucking time. And thank you for listening. If you're listening to this, please, thank you so much. Yeah, go check out the new album. Go check out all their old albums. Go check out Down, as if you fucking haven't. And if you haven't, fuck you, hey? Go check out Kingdom of Sorrow. Jamie Just is a fucking G. And check out Kirk's solo album. That's fucking so good. It is so fucking good. But yeah, with all that being said, it's Sunday, and you know what that means.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing? I just asked you that. I'm so dumb.
Oh, all good. Other than Wi-Fi issues, it's been crazy, man.
That's totally understandable, man. I'm glad to talk to you anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's easier for me in a way, but I don't mind the Zoom stuff. I find things like, I know everyone doesn't do it, but Facebook Messenger and stuff like that work better than Zoom. Zoom, every time I do it, there's some kind of issue.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I've had that heaps of times with podcasts. I try to do it, like, the day of Zoom just doesn't work for some reason, and I'm, like, stressing hardcore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into, like, everything with, like, heavy music for you, because you're an absolute, like, OG. But, like, what's the first heavy band you remember listening to and being like, that's pretty fucking sick?
I mean, I guess, most people in their late 50s, Sabbath, I guess, as a kid, I was literally scared of the song Black Sabbath. One of the older kids in the neighborhood played it, and then when it kicked in, with the whole band, oh God, no, I was just like, Jesus. The album cover scared me the whole 9 yards. But it's always grown, for me. I was into that, of course, but honestly, I was still quite young, but I can't say I got into Sabbath in 1970 or anything. I was only 5. I'd be lying.
Yeah.
So I mean, the first thing for me was the original Kiss, especially Kiss Alive, and it just kind of escalated, and once I once I discovered the brilliance of the new wave of British heavy metal stuff, and German bands like Scorpions and Accept, and a few others, it just kept growing from there, and to this day for me, it just that's that's the bulk of my listening. Stuff is just old school, metal.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent. That's so sick. I remember when I was, like, 'cause I'm 27, I remember when I was, like, maybe 7, 8, I remember seeing a Kiss compilation CD and being like, that looks so sick. Like, who are those dudes? And then got it and just fell in love with, like, that style of heavy music as well.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, the early stuff really is, songs like Watching You and 100,000 Years and, Black Diamond and all. I mean, sure, it's melodic and everything, but I mean, it's heavy, it's got some serious fucking riffing going on, no doubt about it. But yeah, for me, it was just always, everything just kept, I mean, the only thing I'll say that was maybe not heavy, quote unquote heavy, that I was really, really into for a couple of years would be the original Van Halen. I mean, the guitar is heavy, but I mean, the choruses and vocal harmonies and everything are almost, popish, but that's what made it, that was the brilliance of the band,
Yeah, yeah. And that, like, I feel like that was probably the start of, like, what made the hair metal popular, like David Lee Roth's melodies and vocal style and Eddie Van Halen's guitar playing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I totally agree.
Sick. Well, so you get into, like, that new wave of British heavy metal and, like, European metal as well as, like, Sabbath and stuff. And then what band in particular makes you be like, I want to start to play music too and pick up a guitar?
Would be Original Kiss, because Ace really made me want to pick up guitar. And really, when Kiss started to kind of, I guess around the Dynasty era, it's kind of already heard of Van Halen. And then, that's when I kind of made the switch, to like, okay, this, now I still, Ace is still my favorite, of all time, just because it's Ace. But, I mean, Eddie Van Halen, of course, reinvented the guitar, basically. And, I was heavily into Van Halen from like 79 till about 82. And then by then I was sold on, even the big four here in the States, and the whole, culmination, or basically the beginning of what was thrash metal, by then, and I kind of lost interest, even in Van Halen. So, and that's just part of being young. I mean, I was still in high school, during a lot of this. So, it's part of being a kid, basically.
Yeah, and just like discovering your taste in music to what you solidify your playing with.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, and I'm open to all of it. I mean, I listen to all styles of music, and I think that helps you be a better all-around musician and a better writer for sure. If you kind of paint yourself into a corner and you only listen to one style, it's kind of hard to broaden your writing, a lot. I think it's good to have an open mind.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. Like, even like my writing, I'm like, when I was a kid, I only used to listen to like heavy music, and then I got a bit older and I was like broadening my horizons, listening to like the Smiths and the Cure, and like then listening to rap music and pop music from before and like growing up and stuff. It definitely helps broaden your overall like ability to pull from different places in your writing.
Definitely. And I mean, I listen to, I'm just a sucker for like, 80s pop and just pop in general. I mean, even 70s. I mean, like, to me, Cheap Trick's one of my favorite bands, and they're brilliant pop. It's rock and roll, but it's pop, and by pop, I mean, just, it's just hooky. I mean, all the choruses are hooks, and the songs are just so catchy, and I mean, pop is short for popular, so it's a good thing.
Definitely. And like, it wasn't how it is now, where like pop music dominates radio. Like at the time, it was you could listen to like a pop song, rock song, and then like a more R&B type song all the time.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what I do. You know, if we're at a pub or something like that, and I'm playing the jukebox, I mean, that's exactly what I do. I play funk stuff. I play, you know, blues. I play metal. You know, and I play soft, you know, 70s soft rock. I mean, I'll play, you know, shit from Elton John and the Bee Gees, and next thing up, I got Motorhead and Saxon, you know, and then it goes into, you know, Gary Moore. I still got the blues and, you know, just different stuff, man. I mean, that's what keeps it, you know, it's kind of like you might love steak and lobster or something, but eating it every day gets old, you know, so you gotta mix it up.
Yeah, music's too interesting just to listen to one style of music.
Absolutely.
Well, your career obviously is like super accessible for anybody that like wants to know more about you. But like, when you start playing music and you're getting into bands, is that like when you're in high school? Or is it once you leave high school that you start to get into like the Louisiana scene of music?
I mean, I graduated high school, believe it or not, in '83. That's old, man. So, you know, for me, I mean, I would say that, you know, high school being, I guess, 79 to 83, was a lot was going on, because 79 was that at that point, you know, I was losing interest in Kiss, just because they were falling apart. You know, I mean, they really were. And you know, that's kind of like I said, you know, with Van Halen, to me, they kind of it also started the beginning of the end of kind of the whole new wave thing, which was really pretty short lived. I mean, disco was going out, which look, I'm proud to admit I'm actually a very big disco fan. You know, I mean, I love all the good disco hits, you know, and there were a lot of them, you know, and a lot of good musicianship in it as well. But you know, it was like, you know, when I first started high school, we went through, you know, I kind of went through the end of classic rock and the beginning and end of new wave, you know, so to speak, and a little bit of, you know, the punkish stuff. I mean, I also, you know, got into bands like the Smiths, The Cure, you know, The Cure. I was into, now this is a bit later, but I mean, I was a lot in, you know, I was into like Sisters of Mercy, you know, stuff like that. There was more goth. I mean, I've listened to all of it, but I mean, in high school itself, I went from the end of classic rock through new wave into new wave of British heavy metal, and then, you know, the whole Madonna hysteria, the Michael Jackson Thriller, I think, was my senior year in high school. So that was, you know, super popular. So I experienced a lot in those 4 years, you know, as far as the changes. And plus we had the birth of MTV in 1981. So, you know, that changed the face of everything.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, when you start playing in bands, like, what is the scene in New Orleans like?
I mean, when I first started playing, there was a punk scene of bands that pretty much just did originals. Most of them, you know, had the right attitude, weren't really the best musicians, but that was kind of the idea. Where on, you know, the bands I was playing in, we were really doing our best to, you know, to be the next Iron Maiden and, you know, the next Priest and whatever. So we really tried to, you know, work at being the best musicians we could be. But, you know, I mean, lo and behold, a couple of years later, I ended up quitting, you know, my heavy metal band to join what was originally a punk band. And that was in '87. And that kind of opened me up into, you know, hardcore and punk, and just opening my taste in music and not being so closed-minded. Because I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, although I liked a lot of stuff in high school, you know, I kind of kept my mouth shut. You know, I loved all these songs on MTV that were like, you know, British pop bands, you know, that had all these hits. I even loved it and still love Duran Duran, you know, but I didn't let any of my heavy metal friends know that, you know. But it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to do. Now it's different. We all like it. Oh wow, it's great. You know, I haven't heard this in forever. Boom, you know. So I actually listen more than anything to an '80s '80s pop station here that plays, all the old stuff. But yeah, man, for me, I find that it definitely helped me broaden my horizon a bit as far as a songwriter, and that's the beauty of opening your mind. I mean, I listen to a bit of everything. I mean, when my wife and I go to bed at night, we listen to a cable station that's a soundscape station. It's almost like new age soundscape stuff. That there's no drums, there's no vocals. So it's really relaxing, kind of puts you in a trance almost. We put it really, really low, and I'm half, three-quarters deaf anyway. So, I really can't hear what's going on. It just kind of sets a vibe, and it kind of helps you fall asleep, So that's kind of our thing at night. But it's some of it are, I'll be like, oh, I like this. And I'll pop my head up and see who the artist, which of course I never heard of most of these people, but it's still great stuff, I mean, good. That's the way people are like, what kind of music you like? I'm like, good music. It can be anything. If it's good, it's good.
That's excellent, man. It's so sick to like hear you talk about music like that after being in the game for so long. That, like, you're still like interested in like something that sounds cool to you, and still like just stuck in, like, not stuck, but like still go back to your roots of music in general.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. And I mean, I'm not like stuck in my old, stuff. It's just, if I hear something new that, actually, a friend of mine played me a new, I think it was Tears for Fears song, and I thought it was cool. Didn't know they even had new music, but I'm open to anything. Like I said, if it's good music, it's good music. So I listen to a bit of everything.
Yeah, stuck is definitely the wrong word to use. Sorry, man, that's on me. But yeah, that's fucking awesome. And now, like, I want to talk to you about like the different writing processes, because like you're in so many different projects. Like there's Crowbar, obviously, and then Down, Kingdom of Sorrow, and your solo album. And like, what's the difference in writing for you? Like, I can tell the difference in like the styles of music, but like where you come from as a writer to each project.
I mean, honestly, for me, I kind of make my own little. I wouldn't even know the correct term to use, but I make it where, okay, I'm in Crowbar world, or I'm in solo album world, I'm in Down world, I'm in Kingdom of Sorrow world, and when I pick up the guitar to write, I only think of what I would write for these particular projects, So I really that prevents me from kind of crisscrossing. Things from, I set out to write a Down riff and it sounds too much like Crowbar. I mean, that does happen. But, in general, if I'm in a certain, writing mode, then I'm able to kind of keep it separate, because, at the end of the day, it's all just inspired from love of music and melody and writing, writing riffs and writing songs. Yeah,
that's excellent. So you kind of like just close the door on that project and open up another one and go through that when it comes to writing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much the best explanation of it, I would say, yes.
Sick, cool. Well, we'll get into like the new release, because like I frothed the new single. It is so sick.
Oh, awesome, thank you.
But like the new album, Zero and Below, like, do you want to talk about like what that as a concept means for you? Because I know like a lot of Crowbar and Down use like the New Orleans sort of imagery in your releases.
And we do. I mean, I guess it's kind of a natural thing for us all to do, but as far as imagery, but really Zero and Below, to me, it's just, I needed a song title for track 10. And I'm like, I just came up with that, and I said, that's pretty fucking cool, So when it was kind of time to come up with an album title, I asked the other guys, I said, what do y'all think of using, Zero and Below as, track 10 as like the title track, and then calling the record Zero and Below, and they all thought it was a cool idea, so we went with it.
That's sick.
So, I mean, no deep, dark, crazy meaning to it or whatever. I just came up with the title and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I love that shit, man. Even like when I'm writing stuff, I'm like, oh, what sounds like really tough, but I'm not a tough guy, and then just think of something.
Yeah, it probably disappoints some people. Like, man, I thought it was something. I really wanted to know what it means. And I'm like, well, it could mean anything to the individual.
Yeah.
It's kind of been the mindset of everybody in the world the last two years. It's kind of, how you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10? Well, 0 and below. But I mean, we actually had the title pre-lockdown, pre-COVID. So I can't take whatever the word is there. Any credit for that, because that wouldn't be the truth,
Yeah, so that's excellent. And like, art is subjective. Music's like, in my opinion, like the best form of art. So if it means something to somebody and something to somebody else, that's all good.
Yeah, I mean, everything doesn't have to necessarily be a story. I mean, certain lyricists, like Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy is one for me. It's like I picture the whole song. Same thing with Don Henley from the Eagles. It's like when I hear Hotel California, I literally picture him, riding down a dark desert highway, with the wind in his hair. It's like, and it takes you on a trip somewhere. But for me, I'm just a different type of lyricist.
Yeah. Well, I think I just got the queue of like 60 seconds left. I usually ask like top 5 favorite bands, but we've only got a minute left, so we'll just get into your favorite band of all time, I guess.
I mean, it's tough, but I mean, I have to say, the first 3 Kiss albums and Kiss Alive 1 are my, without that, I wouldn't have picked up the guitar. So, going back and showing my age a bit, that would have to still be my favorite of all time.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you for having the time to talk to me. It means a lot.
Oh, thanks so much. Absolutely. I appreciate it, man.
Have a good day, man.
Done for another week. Huge thank you to Kirk Windstein from Crowbar, Down, Kingdom of Sorrow, and of his solo work. Huge thank you to Kirk. It was so good. It was so fucking good. Just being able to, fucking cop this, right? Me, at 27, when I started listening to bands like Crowbar and Down, it was when I was like 13, 14, and I was watching VH1, and there was like a Pantera behind the music, right? And this is legitimately how I found out about Down and Crowbar. So there's a Pantera behind the music, or like a sort of documentary thing after Dime passed, and they went into like Superjoint Ritual and Down, and I was like, oh, I want to listen to those bands. So I skipped Superjoint, and I went straight for Down, because I was like, Down is like a really cool name. Check that out, and I'm like, who are these guys in Down? And I check him out, and it's Kirk Windstein. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, sick. Oh, he's in his own band. He's got his own band, Crowbar. I'll check them out. And I check them out, they're fucking sick. And I was just like, fuck, like, I love this shit. Like, just that discovery of, like, music through bands and shit, that's me as a kid. That was who I was. I got fucking bullied hard for it, because I was a fucking music nerd. And I wasn't, like, a farmer kid that liked to smoke weed. Yeah, so that was wild to be able to talk to Kirk and, like, sit down with somebody that I've known about for so long and just talk about Kiss and Van Halen and shit and disco and how cool music is just in general. And then, like, oh man, I wish it was longer. Like, 20 minutes is better than no time at all, but, like, if it was longer, I would have loved to have talked about, like, just Louisiana in general, just because I'm so fascinated by that. If anybody knows me on a personal level, right? So I make a mean as fuck gumbo, right? My gumbo is fucking wild. And if you don't know what gumbo is, it's Louisiana stew type deal, right? It's fucking awesome. Mine especially. So when I make it around the house, I'm a big, like, I like to talk myself up. No, your boy, the big wool, that heavy sweater, fucking... When I play drums, I call myself the beat keeper, because I'd fucking never lose time, dog. Just like a beekeeper keeps them bees, I keep that time. Fucking idiot. But when I make my gumbo, I walk around the house and I big note myself, and I'm the Cajun king of Queensland around this motherfucker. Like, so yeah, I would have loved to have talked about Louisiana a bit more and just like how cool of a place that seems to be, because I've never been there. And he lives there, so yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Kirk's a fucking legend. I hope you liked that chat that I had with him. I liked it. When I said stuck, I was like, that's not the right word. I'm a fucking idiot. Because I had all my questions written down. And then that sort of music came up and he was just like, I still listen to that today. And I was just like, that's fucking cool, man. Like, I love hearing how people talk about music, because to me it's so fascinating, because I love music so much that, like, when I hear other people talk about how much they love music, it sort of like sweeps me up. And yeah, so I said stuck. I didn't mean stuck. What I meant to say was like deeply embedded in his roots in heavy music and what he grew up on, and sort of still fucking with that, because I do that. Like, I'm a fucking emo kid at heart. I still listen to The Used. I still listen to My Chem. I still listen to like those bands that like were my transitioning bands from emo to heavy music, like the Murder Dolls and Slipknot and Prom Queen. You know, like, yeah. Fuck, and Escape the Fate, like that MySpace music, yeah, like that shit. I still listen to that now, probably more than I listen to like modern music, unless it's New Kubla Khan. That shit fucking slaps, dog. Yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast, and if you're this far in, sick, thank you. So check out Crowbar's new album, Zero and Below. Available wherever you listen to music. It's on all streaming services. Check them out on Instagram. I think it's Crowbar Music. Let me check. Yep, Crowbar Music on Instagram, Crowbar Music on Facebook. Just check them out. They're fucking sick. Killer fucking band. Absolutely killer band. And yeah, if you've listened this far, thank you for sticking around. If you like what I'm doing over here with the podcast, please share it. Tell a friend. If you like it, tell an enemy. If you don't, yeah. Like it, follow it, subscribe to it. Heavy Sweater Podcast on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And yeah, I got nothing to say, because this isn't about me. This one, like, yeah, my plugs are Heavy Sweater Podcast and Shokan Band. So, yeah, thanks for listening to the podcast. It means a lot. Come back next week for a new episode. Thanks.